Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Wireless and Offline Locks Overview, Which Lock is Best for Which Application? My name is Kelsey Burke, and I'm the Product Manager for OEM Solutions here at Software House. Today, I have with me Rick Foke, our Director of Product Management for Access Control. Today, we'll be discussing locks on a high-level overview, everything from wireless locks to offline locks, what the difference is, and when you would choose one over the other. A few housekeeping notes before we dive into the content here. The webinar is in listen-only mode, so if you have questions, we will be taking them throughout the presentation. Please add your questions using the GoToWebinar control panel. In addition, the webinar is also being recorded, so a link will be sent out at the conclusion of today's webinar to all attendees who have joined. So, jumping right in.
Okay, let's jump in here. Good.
So here, we want to talk about extending your secure doors, right? So that's kind of really what we're going to be talking about, taking control of more doors, removing potential weak points. Typically, other remaining doors are secured by a conventional mechanical lock or physical mechanical keyed cylinders. This, of course, is a commonly used technology worldwide. But when it comes to managing keys, you have to make sure that there's a closed key system in an organization. If a key is lost or stolen, a considerable effort is often involved in replacing the keys or the locks in all or part of the building or the site. Also, making sure that there are no duplicates around that can create backdoors in your security concept. So the solutions, there are many solutions that we offer to customers to complete the doors and key management. So here you can see 3 solutions on the screen. So first of all, managing the remaining keys and cabinets with an integration to our access control system, Secure 9000. You can track who took which key and when they took the key, force discipline to return keys before that individual leaves the building for the day or at a certain period. Other solutions could be offline locks or wireless locks, which is what we'll be talking about today. Here we have some market growth within the wireless locks for the security industry. In 2026, it is expected to reach about 1.7 billion, which is a 9.7% increase. North America and Europe are estimated to hold right around 60% of the market volume. However, Latin America is expected to grow from 9% to 11% by 2026. One of the contributing factors here are the advances in smart technology, right? Smart buildings, smart homes, all of that kind of conversation is lending these lock companies to redesigning or innovating their wireless lock technology, which of course is leading to the growth of the industry and more people getting involved in these types of access controls.
Right, and Kelsey, yeah, the average cost, per lock has been dropping. I've been around for a while. When these first came out 15, 20 years ago, they were a lot more to install than a traditional wired door. But now, especially with some of the newer, Bluetooth lock sets, they are looking, very good as far as being cost effective.
Yes, good point. The scale's definitely tipping, that's for sure.
Right. So let me jump in here. This is Rick. We kind of define 3, broad types of lock sets that we integrate with in Secure. The first that Kelsey mentioned, let's consider the offline lock sets. And with these types of locks, the access rights are carried on the user's card. The lock set itself doesn't have any database in it. Okay, the credentials, the schedule for when the person can go to that specific. Lockset is all on the card. So you have to have smart cards, first of all, to do that. One of the downsides is, of course, if it's offline, it's offline. There's no monitoring of that door switch if things, go haywire. If somebody's breaking in or you get a card reject, that's not going to be known to the front end. Okay, so that's the offline lock set. Okay, next up would be online lock sets to the CQ9000 servers. These are lock sets that are sort of like mini controllers, like, not quite an iStar, not the same features, but they are little controllers with a local database in the lock. So they can do their own, real-time decision making. The caveat here is that it's not quite real-time for monitoring back to Secure. Some of these have different wake-up times. When you try to do a lockdown, which is a push from Secure to the lock, that can, it won't be in real time, at least for the two lock sets we have now. It has to wait for the wake-up time on the lock. So just, be careful. You can't do certain things with these types of lock sets. The third one here is online lock sets, but these go to an iStar. Okay, so the iStar makes the decision. Okay, the local lock set doesn't have a real database in it. There's maybe an offline mode. But in this case, you get a lot of the power of the iStar to use with your wireless locks. Okay, and you do, in most cases, get real-time monitoring. Maybe within 30 seconds or 5 seconds. There's some wake-up timers you can set, which you do get really nice performance. When you hook them up to the iStar. So those are our three definitions. And when you do offline, again, you have to use a smart card, which is great, except if you don't know how to use smart cards, you need to configure the card. Sometimes it can be tricky. But you can even do prox cards with a little MyFair sticker on it if you want, to help upgrade your cards for smart cards. These are very low in installation time, less wiring. In fact, there's really no wiring except for the hotspots to update the cards, like one hotspot per building. Some other disadvantages, they have batteries. You got to change the batteries now and then. You do get a low battery alert from somebody else's card with like a viral transmission back to the CQ9000 through that hotspot again. Okay. But yeah, these are used for lower security applications, dorm rooms, supply closets, cabinets. They do have a nice line of cabinet locks as well. We move up to the iStar. Okay, here's where, personally, I think this is, if you can afford it, go for these types of locks. They have the iStar functionality. There's no extra license fees. You can do even two-factor authentication. You swipe your card at the wireless lock, and then you get a push to your phone to confirm the access. Okay. On the disadvantage side, there's still the batteries to worry about. Although there are some hardwired options available, which means it's wireless from the lock, but hardwired wire. Okay, or it could be just hardwired lock, power, and communications right through the door. Okay, and there is an offline mode if your lock does lose comm to its wireless connection points. It kind of remembers the last few cards that have passed through it and uses that as its cached database. Okay, so it's kind of trying to spell out the advantages of each type here. Third one, again, these are very reliable in that the lock set holds the database, okay, to make the decision. And with the ASSA ABLOY lock sets, you can actually use Wi-Fi. You don't need to get extra hubs or extra infrastructure to get the locks online. Just use the existing Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is everywhere, right? Okay, so these are very popular in universities where the dorm has Wi-Fi. It has to, right? Everyone has Wi-Fi. And they can just get these locks on board that same network. Okay. I mentioned batteries again, and the Wi-Fi are even more hungry than the other ones. There's like 6 AA batteries in each lock. Okay, and that's why the PoEs are getting more popular, even though you have to run the PoE through the door core. Okay, and the other disadvantage here is that the system needs to distribute changes to card holders, new card holders, down to each and every lock that it's supposed to. So, those updates can take some time, especially if you have large imports going on. Okay, so just want to get that out there so we can, help decide which lock set to use for which application. Okay, Kelsey?
Yes, so today we're going to be visiting each of the lock sets that you see on the screen here, just providing some differentiators that will hopefully help you with current or maybe future projects that you're looking to quote for these types of technologies. So we'll first hop into our offline lock set. So the SALTO offline locks are ideal for interior doors that require a moderate level of security. There's no cabling that is required. These locks offer flexibility within the project where the cost of a fully wired door may not necessarily be justified. So as Rick touched upon, dorm rooms, that type of level of security, storage areas, office spaces, this option is very cost effective. So for example, you can add it as an offline lock. And then later on, if you need the wireless components to monitor your people coming and going in real time, you can do so at a later time. So it gets you kind of the best of both worlds. Now, what we mean by wireless, right? Because we just said it's an offline lock. So what we kind of mean by wireless is that real-time monitoring of people coming and going from the door, lockdown, that type of stuff. The exchange of the information. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, yeah, just the actual database of cardholders is not on the wireless. That's still offline. So it's like a hybrid approach when
Correct.
you add a wireless to each lock.
Exactly. And actually, one of the key differentiators for this offline lock is they have their data still stored on the card as opposed to the lock. So the exchange of the information via the RFID carriers are secured and encrypted on these cards. And the next couple slides will kind of move through, how that communicates with the Secure 9000 system and with the lock in general. Another ideal differentiator here are the multi-standard technologies. So SALTO works with most widely used RFID technologies. It's not just a one-way communication. So that's kind of another benefit if you're, retrofitting or anything of that nature, or trying to add locks to a site. This does work with multi-versions of technology. Another great differentiator here, the SALTO offline system is built into their wireless system. So even if the system is wireless and the online goes down, the virtual network actually reverts the lock back to offline. So continuing, so where do the SALTO locks fit? The offline access control locks are a great solution, as previously mentioned, to extend an existing access control investment. So something beyond high security and fully monitored doors. This offline solution are for doors and entries that again, maybe a fully wired hardwired door is not justified, but you still, want the look and feel of being offline. Really a great option. So typically typically in a building with access control, there's still a lot of doors. We've moved to the next slide. So with the card updating points, so with each install, there is an update point or an update to the reader that is connected to the access control system. Most of these places are installed, vary from site to site. So it could be at the entrance, it could be at a lobby, time and attendance clock, a gate. Often when it permits, sometimes maybe even an elevator space, which is what you're seeing here. So here, getting back to how the offline locking works. So the way the offline locking provides managed access right is to allow people entering into certain areas, and how they collect the information from the users and the doors is done in a particular way. So as mentioned a few slides before, so SALTO, they've named theirs the SALTO virtual network. So all the information is stored on the card. So you can see here on the screen, as the card is tapped, the credential moves up to the updating point out to their offline server, and then we can, allow, or it pings back to the Secure 9000 system. I don't know if you have any more information, Rick, on the data on cards that you'd want to share.
Yeah, it's really slick how, when you get first enrolled, the card gets programmed with your access rights and with an expiration date. And you can set up so that you have to get to one of these update points every day, or else the card just stops working everywhere. You can set up those times, to meet your security needs. Then, as you swipe a card, the lock will let you in, but it'll also say, hey, and by the way, here's like some other alarm stuff that I've noticed in the past hour, like my battery's getting low, or, somebody tried to open the door, it did open, by itself. All those events will get transmitted eventually by other people's cards when they, go back to the update point, which then, feeds them back into Secure. So it's like a delayed reaction, it's not real time, but hey, it's getting the, the events up there back into Secure.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then just expanding on the integration here. So currently the integration for the SALTO offline locks is supported up to version 2.8, which is our current latest version of the Secure 9000 access control system. The integration is, I apologize, apparently they decided to do some street work.
Oh, okay. The joy of working from home, right? But yeah, the integration is the 2.9 rev is in testing already, so we should have that available as 2.9 gets launched early next month or really soon afterwards. So yeah, it's a really nice integration. It's completely embedded in Secure, and gets those journal messages back into Secure. You can program the cards right through Secure. Really a nice way to expand your system. And we did have one question here about update points per location. And, it's not a rule that you can only have one per location. You can pop those update points around, as needed. And you do normally put those right at the main entry doors. In fact, you might have a traditional wired reader to get into the main door, and then right in the lobby you have an update point, for the card. It's just a matter of getting used to it, so people know that if they don't do the update, they won't get access that day. Okay.
Thank
Great.
you, Rick.
Let's keep going here. We had a lot to cover because we have so many integrations, right, with some different brands of locks here. Next up is The Aperio line from ABLOY. We've had this integration for about 5 years now. And this is one of the online integrations to the iStar. Okay, if you remember back to those 3 different types. Okay, so the Aperio locks talk with the low energy wireless back to hubs, which then talks to an iStar. And that's how you complete the access control architecture, which means you get custom clearances, you get clearance filters, you get, a lot of the iStar features, that are normally there for traditional doors, keypad control even, okay? Then on the locks themselves, you'll get immediate notice if somebody's trying to use a key to override the electronics, okay? You get monitoring of the deadbolt, the cylinder, okay? So it's online. And also one key point here, like the SALTO line, these are global portfolios, okay? If you have customers that, expand overseas, I'll make sure that you can use a line that has, mechanical, lock types to fit different door sets for different, global regions. Okay, these are the only 2 really that have the full global portfolio: the Aperio and the SALTO. Okay, so here's a simple diagram of how the Aperio system gets put together. You start with your server for 9,000, of course, and some clients. Then there's your Ultra, iStar Ultra. You just need the GCM board, okay? Because the Aperio hubs, which collect the wireless signals, talk right to the 485 port on the GCM board. So if you have just Aperio things connected, you can buy the GCM, and that's it. You don't need the ACMs. And then from the Aperio hubs, it is that low energy 802.15.4, sort of like Zigbee wireless. And that talks to up to 8 locks within the range, okay? And those can be the standard locks. They can be the nice little cabinet locks, okay? If you have medical supplies you want to keep under control. They do have the data center lock, okay? If you want to lock down each of your server racks, the same types of cards and wireless control. That's it. Okay, so there's a little bit of extra cost in this hub and this wiring, but it's very minimal. Okay, and just taking it to the next level, if you want to max out your GCM, right, you can have up to 32 readers per GCM, and they can be all Aperios. In this case, you'd use both RS-45 ports. You'd have 16 locks per port. Here I have 2 hubs each on each of the RS-45 field buses here, and these locks, just get paired up to the nearest hub with a little service tool. So it is a really, embedded integration. It's in the iStar, and we've had this again for about 5 years, and it's been working very well in the field. Okay, and again, you can do a lot of the iStar things. The 2-factor mobile push, the after-hours enabling reader, which is great for COVID responses in some cases where you want to have the person swipe into this reader and then they're allowed to go into 3 or 4 other readers. Okay, it kind of links a reader group to this enabling reader. And we continue to add to it. We have support for their newer hub coming out. They'll give you 16 locks per hub instead of 8. Okay, so a little more efficient when you have all your locks together in one place. Okay, and we did get a question in on the DSR, and the DSR is not part of the Aperio system. It's a totally separate line. Okay, in fact, that's our next one we're going to cover here. ASSA, they have 2 separate lines, and they must have acquired 2 different companies over the years, and they kept them. So one is Aperio, it's more of an online direct to iStar approach, and the DSR is what we use for the IP ASSA locks. Okay, so that's it for Aperio. Again, a great lock portfolio. Now let's move to the IP-enabled locks from ASSA. And this is where you do need your DSR in the picture. So again, a whole separate line from ASSA. Okay, we call them IP-enabled because they could be IP over Wi-Fi or IP over PoE. Okay, you can get there whichever way you want, right? If you want to use existing Wi-Fi, great. Okay, you buy the Wi-Fi enabled lock sets. If you hate battery changing, don't want to be bothered, then you can order the PoE versions. They're powered through a Cat5, Cat6 cable. The bad news there is you have to get that Cat5 or Cat6 cable out to the lock through the door, and that can be a little tricky sometimes if the door doesn't come that way with the core drilled out. You need to go through the hinge. Okay, you have to get a special hinge that can keep that Cat5, Cat6 signal going. Okay, so just be aware there's some trade-offs there. But in general, though, it's a great lock set range when they want to do the access control decision at the lock with the local database. Okay, used to be 2,400, now it's up to 10,000 card holders per lock. So, and in most cases, let's face it, you might need 10 or 20 card holders. If you're doing dorm rooms or office spaces, you're not going to need 10,000. And in general, for all these locks, I would not use these at main entrances, in high traffic areas. I'd stick with your traditional iStar wired up doors. Can't go wrong. Wireless, offline, they should be used for the lower traffic areas, I would say. So I kind of like diagrams here, right, to show you how it fits together. Here is the diagram for the IP-enabled lock sets. Okay, so if you do the wireless route, okay, you'd have your secure server, your clients, and then you do need a separate server to handle this thing called a DSR. That's the ASSA door service router. And that's the management tool that then talks to all the locks and manages the downloads of changes of new card holders, and they get the audit and the journal messages back from the locks, for the access grants and access denied. So the door service router talks to locks, through an access point. They're up to the latest Wi-Fi standards, 2.11n with encryption. Okay. And then if you want to do the PoE thing, you can mix and match as well. But the PoE just goes through a standard PoE switch. Okay. And then you run your Cat5 out to each lock. This is kind of a misleading diagram here. Each lock needs a separate segment, okay, back to the switch. But those segments can be 100 meters. Standard LAN segment rules apply. Okay, and then there's always maximums. We test and validate up to a certain limit. So we test up to 1,024 locks per DSR, and a max of 5 DSRs that each secure server can talk to. So you can really expand a lot with these IP-enabled lock sets on a secure system. And there's a bunch of flavors you can choose from. Right, Kelsey? Our price book is about 10 pages long of IP-enabled locks.
Yes, every model you can think of.
Right, Corbin Russwin, Sargent, IN120s, IN220s, profiles, you name it. Thank God they all have the same protocol, so we can support them with that same integration. We've had these for about 8 years now, and we have had some stops and starts. I know someone on the webinar might have worked through some of those stops and starts, but we totally re-engineered the driver the end of last year, and it's out and updated to the latest ASSA DSR rev. And the performance specs have drastically improved as far as download time, update times. So we encourage you to give it a try. It's really ready for prime time now. And just a few of the housekeeping items. We're up to the latest DSR Rev 8011. We only support 2.7 now, but 2.8 is really close. Okay, and we're in fact starting to test the 2.9 driver. So we'll have those out within the next month to 6 weeks. Okay, so if you have a 2.8 customer, just have them hang on a little bit longer for this driver. And we all do have a roadmap. We continue to improve it. We do want to add support for government card reads called FASTKins, increase some lock counts, and then we want to add the show association, so you can right-click, on the ASSA lock and show all the clearances that are associated. Maybe some duplication reporting, troubleshooting tools. These are some feedback items from our tech support guys as they've been using the driver. So yeah, we had one question that's come in on the IP-enabled side. If Wi-Fi does go down, do the IP-enabled locks allow for local card reads? And yes, the answer is a commanding yes. That's one of the main features here, is that each lock set has their own little database of card holders inside. It's like a little mini controller, if you will. Okay, of course, then when the Wi-Fi is back up, you will get an update going. You'll get the card reads going back to Secure, and any new card holder changes sent back down to the locks. Okay, well, good. Let's keep going. And Kelsey, are you up now for the Schlage Locksets?
Sure, I'll kick this one off. So here we have the Allegion Schlage AD series of lock sets. So this line of integrated locks consists of wireless locks, which are AD-400s, and hardwired lock sets, which are AD-300s. Some of the key features here communicates with the entire suite of iStar door controllers. So following in that same category here, this lock is perfect for sites such as colleges, so for dorm rooms, elevators, entrance doors, offices, that type of stuff. It is flexible connectivity, so it pretty much fits into whatever building infrastructure is existent. They do offer a modular design, so changing credentials without changing the lock is super easy with this line. Again, you can have wireless or hardwired, so a really great option if you have a site that's kind of deciding which one they want to go with, or if they're going with a mixture. It's a great option for K through 12.
Yeah, these have been the workhorse of our wireless offerings. So we've had the integration for at least 15 years, back to our Pro. They also are the only ones that offer a real mag stripe option here. Look at that. You can still use mag stripe.
Yep. Yes, that's also true. The next offering from Allegion is the NDE and the LE lock set. So this is a series of wireless locks. So they have a technology that they call Engage technology, which is designed to make these locks very easy to install, very easy to connect to. It's built on the Schlage Grade 1 platform. So it's tested beyond mechanical and electronic cycle requirements. So it's developed specifically for facilities that want to upgrade to electronic credentials for improved security or maybe better efficiency within the site or the building. They're ideal for, again, interior office doors or common area doors, sensitive storage spaces. The NDE and the LE, so the NDE is a cylindrical lock, LE is a mortise, so you kind of have your option there, again depending on what the site is looking for.
Yeah, It's basically positioned as the lower cost alternative to those AD-300 and 400s. Less features, a little bit less range in the wireless, but they really do hit a nice price point.
Sure. So here you can see kind of the inner workings and how everything communicates. So down below we have the AD series architecture. So communication is the same between the AD 300 and 400, as you can see down below. The NDE and the LE is above. So again, the NDE and the LE, that engaged technology that they have allows a seamless integration with software house. So our Secure 9000 visitor management system. It provides a cost-effective and scalable access control solution to the site. As you can see here, the Engage gateway allows up to 10 locks per gateway, whereas the AD gateway allows up to 16.
What's the difference in range too?
Yes. Yep, different in range. So you can see the NDE.
I think we're losing you, Kelsey. You're cutting out here, but yeah, the NDEs, they're the low energy wireless version, 30-foot radius. The the tried and true AD-400s, they give you more bang for the buck, 200-foot radius, for their wireless signals there. What's nice is that you can mix and match on the same iStar. Okay, the gateways and the PIMs can coexist on the same bus, that same RS-45 if you want to. Okay, and yeah, they have this thing called Wake on Radio, and that gives you the less than 5-second response to commands from the host, for a lockdown, for example. Okay, that will be within reason, a nice way to do lockdowns.
Thank you, Rick. So here is just a, finish up with a quick comparison of the NDE LE and the ED series. So as you can see here, in regards to credential supported as well as communication methods are some of the key differentiators between the two series.
Okay, great. So now we're on to the last one.
Yes, last but certainly not least here is our best YQ locks by the Dormakaba group. So these locks provide a smart and easy to use access control solution. The solution is fast and reliable. It consumes less energy than some of the other wireless systems that are out there. They do have a triple redundant storage of transactional data. So that's provided at the reader, the gateway, and the host. So the YQ technology guarantees that the door access is controlled even during power failures, which is really great. So it's an efficient power management, provides, benefits to the users or the sites that desire online features without necessarily the high cost of the online installation, the maintenance, expansion, etc. So, just they're easy to go ahead and install. No additional holes to be drilled are required. The hardware is super easy to install. Their formats, of course, include mag stripe, dual validation. They're intelligent devices. So again, going back to that best Omni lock technology that they refer to, that supports the variety of features that you see here.
Yeah. And for those that have been around, again, a few years here, these used to be called Stanley. Before that, Omni keys.
Yes.
Okay, so same locks, different names over the years. Now Dormakaba is the company that owns the technology.
Yes, thank you. Great point, Rick. So the best YQ technology, so what that does is it enables the bidirectional communication between the wireless locks and the Secure 9000 system. So it's capable of providing wireless control for things such as parking gates or electromagnetic locks, electric strikes, or any other electronic devices. The wireless solution's overall design is very convenient for upgrade capability. So if you have changing security requirements or scalability, this lock is great to go from large to small security solutions. And on the screen here, you can kind of see again how the locks are communicating with that YQ gateway there to then go up and talk to the Secure 9000 system.
Also, just to point out, we aren't quite there yet with the 2.8 rev for Dormakaba either. That's developed by Dormakaba. So just hang in there. We'll get that 2.8 and even a 2.9 rev out soon. We'll crack the whip.
Yeah, we're actually, good point. We are talking with them already, so they have the 2.8 partner package, and they're working on the upgrade as we speak. So that should be coming shortly.
Good. So yeah, these are direct to Secure along the same lines as the ASSA ABLOY IP lock sets. Although in this case, they don't use Wi-Fi or PoE directly, they do go through a separate gateway device, which then hops on the network.
Yes.
So they have their own database and make their own decisions. So if the wireless is down, these things are gonna keep on ticking.
Yes. So
yeah, this is the last slide.
Yes, so we covered a lot of ground today.
So we thought we'd consolidate it all into one slide here. This is, I guess, more of a reference. You'll get the slide
Quick
deck.
Snapshot.
Okay. We basically kept to our definitions here. Okay, the first few columns are the online to server locks. Then you have your 3 online to iStar locks. Okay, 2 from Schlage, 1 from ASSA, Aperio. Then the SALTO, the hybrid. With the hybrids, it's basically offered in 2 price points. You can buy the offline only versions of the lock sets, or you can buy it with wireless enabled, right, Kelsey? Is that like an option you can add on in the field as well?
Yeah, so there's a wireless component that can be added.
Hello, you're disappearing on us again.
So if the locks are already installed as offline locks, there's just a component add-on to the lock house.
Okay, great.
Hello?
Okay. So yeah, I'm not going to go through every single line here, but one of the important ones is the range. Okay, this line right here, for the wireless connectivity, 200 feet is the max for the Dormakaba and the Schlage AD. Then you get down to smaller ranges, 82 feet for Aperio and then 30 feet for those NDE locks. So just keep that in mind when you lay out your system, when you choose your locks. So the other one would be the hardwired option. So you basically have to ask your customers, would you mind changing batteries or not? And if the answer is a definite no, I will not change batteries, then you got to go with one of the lock sets that has the hardwired option there to avoid the batteries. Okay. And the other question is, what credentials are in use and will the locks support them, right? And that's in this line here, the card reader options. Do you have mag, stripe, Okay, well, you better choose one of these three. You know, do you have procs? Okay, you can't use SALTO unless you can, you know, put the little sticker on there for the smart card chip. Okay, so refer to this chart here. It's a good little reference, you know, as you embark on, you know, getting some wireless lock installations going. Okay, we do have a question here on mobile credentials. Are any of these wireless locks able to use mobile credentials? And the answer is yes. It depends. Okay, unfortunately, mobile credentials are not a standard. They're very proprietary these days. So on the ASSA ABLOY side, their latest revs of locks can be used with the HID mobile credentials. Not so much on the others. SALTO has their own mobile credential that is being rolled into the driver at some point. I don't know, Kelsey, do you have any dates on when that's being rolled in?
I don't. I haven't heard any up.
Okay. And I just heard that Schlage is rolling out their own mobile credential. So I guess the short answer is yes. Most of them do support mobile credentials, but you just have to be aware that it's, you know, sort of a proprietary credential. Okay. And I guess we got a question or a comment in here about AD-400 locks supporting I-class. Yeah, that was a typo on the chart here. They don't promote it. You won't see it plastered over their data sheets because, you know, I'm sorry, ASSA is one of their competitors, but you know, the Schlage AD series does, you know, support an I-class card read. Okay. You have any other questions? You know, type them in. We got a few more minutes. If you want to stick around, we can go through them.
In the next slide, Rick, too, if I know we're at the top of the hour here, but the next slide is our contact information. So if after today's webinar you find you have additional questions, you know, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to assist in answering any of your questions also.
Yeah, great. And if you have any other suggestions too, for other wireless lock lines that you've seen that we should, you know, discuss integrating into Secure, you know, please feel free to contact us as well. We're always looking to expand the breadth of Secure, and you know, there's other products out there, right? You know, we have 5. That's pretty good. 6 would be better. Okay. Especially globally. You know, if you do notice, we have the 5 main lines here, but only 2 are considered global products. The rest are North America only, with a few countries you can use them in for Latin America, and I believe the Schlage you can get into the Middle East, but it's a North American product.
Yep. All right.
Okay, well, great. No other questions coming in?
Not that I'm seeing. So last few minutes here, I just want to, you know, thank Rick and thank everybody for attending today's webinar. I hope that we provided you with, you know, some good information and some good tools as you move forward with your current projects or even future projects. You know, we covered a lot of information in 1 hour here, but I think it was great to share with you guys, and you know, thanks for taking the time out to give us a listen.
Great. Yeah, thanks for attending, and this more or less concludes the webinar series that we had the last few months on, you know, general topics on Secure and Software House. But stay tuned, we have a lot of new product launches coming up the next few months, so you'll have more webinars to hopefully join us on. July,
Yes,
August,
back.
September.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Okay.
very exciting stuff coming down the pipeline.
Great. Well, okay, that's it. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.